this offseason.
Okay.
After this year ends, he's eligible to sign his first long-term deal or his first second contract, and he is expected at some point during the offseason to get a new deal done with the Chiefs that I would think, just guessing, is going to be a deal in excess of $200 million over the course of that contract. So let's just say 5 years, $40+ million a year,
Fair.
200+
Good.
million.
That's exactly what I wanted. So let's live in a world now. We all agree that's going to happen. We all agree it should. He right now is trending towards being as good as anyone we've ever seen. So there's nothing else to talk about there. Now let's live in a world where Dak Prescott keeps this up all year long, and they have a good playoff run. Maybe they win the Super Bowl. Maybe they make it to whatever it is. Dak Prescott shows as well as he has to the end of this year. He, unlike Mahomes, actually becomes a free agent. What is to say whether we think he's as good as Mahomes or not, which no one is arguing that he is, that he's not going to get paid that much money too, because he is going to have the ultimate leverage.
Well, I think this is part of why Dak Prescott is now waiting and why there's no rush. How many quarterbacks do we actually see suffer career-ending type injuries? Alex Smith potentially may have suffered one, but quarterbacks bounce back. Tom Brady tore his ACL, came back. Drew Brees hurt his shoulder, came back. And so Dak Prescott knows that he's got the coverage of insurance this offseason.
Okay.
After this year ends, he's eligible to sign his first long-term deal or his first second contract, and he is expected at some point during the offseason to get a new deal done with the Chiefs that I would think, just guessing, is going to be a deal in excess of $200 million over the course of that contract. So let's just say 5 years, $40+ million a year,
Fair.
200+
Good.
million.
That's exactly what I wanted. So let's live in a world now. We all agree that's going to happen. We all agree it should. He right now is trending towards being as good as anyone we've ever seen. So there's nothing else to talk about there. Now let's live in a world where Dak Prescott keeps this up all year long, and they have a good playoff run. Maybe they win the Super Bowl. Maybe they make it to whatever it is. Dak Prescott shows as well as he has to the end of this year. He, unlike Mahomes, actually becomes a free agent. What is to say whether we think he's as good as Mahomes or not, which no one is arguing that he is, that he's not going to get paid that much money too, because he is going to have the ultimate leverage.
Well, I think this is part of why Dak Prescott is now waiting and why there's no rush. How many quarterbacks do we actually see suffer career-ending type injuries? Alex Smith potentially may have suffered one, but quarterbacks bounce back. Tom Brady tore his ACL, came back. Drew Brees hurt his shoulder, came back. And so Dak Prescott knows that he's got the coverage of insurance policies. He's got the endorsement deals. Those packages together basically give him $50 million of coverage.
Right.
So he's saying, I'm going to bet on myself. With this team that we have assembled, with my style of play, I'll bet on myself the way that Joe Flacco did when the Ravens won the Super Bowl, and he cashed in to become, at that point, the highest paid quarterback in the game.
Yep.
So Dak Prescott now is going to sit back here, play it out. The more they win, the better he plays, the more he gets paid. He doesn't have to sign right now. I don't know what the Cowboys are offering, but it's not hard to figure out. Jared Goff, Carson Wentz got $33 million. They're probably offering him in the very same category. He's going to make the argument with his play here that he is worth more, and right now, he's winning that bet.
Listen, I would walk, if I'm Dak Prescott and I wait till the end of the season ends as well, I'd wait till Mahomes signs and I'll say, see what they gave him? Give it to me. Because they won't have any choice.
The trick is, if it's not the Cowboys, I don't think he's going to get the big bankroll. Because if the Cowboys are the one team that know just how good he is, the stigma's still, Greeny, regardless of what the stats are, the stigma's still that Dak is not that good. The stigma still.
Do you believe it?
No, I'm a believer now. He shut me the heck up a long time ago. He shut me up at the week 1, week 2 of the season. But I still believe that people think Dak's a game manager, which is why I don't think that people believe that he should get as much as he
That's entirely unfair. Like, he led game-winning playoff drives. Like, he's not a game manager. He's fantastic. And once they added Amari Cooper, they've been 10-2.
Yes.
He's been 71% and had a 4-to-1 interception and touchdown ratio. And he has been fantastic, almost as good as Patrick Mahomes. Nobody's as good as Patrick Mahomes, but almost as good as Patrick Mahomes, but more important to the Cowboys than anybody else. I think that he won't get Patrick Mahomes' money, but I think he has the leverage to maybe go for it.
The Cowboys blew it. That's what I'm trying to say. And Mike Tannenbaum, God bless him, was sitting right there and said the Cowboys should take care of the quarterback first. You always take care of the quarterback first. It's going to cost them a fortune now because it doesn't matter. However good any of us think he is, whatever any quarterback gets paid, he's going to get paid because he's going to become a free agent. Look what Kirk Cousins Cousins got paid by becoming a free agent. Kirk Cousins never had anything close to what Dak Prescott is doing this year. The Cowboys blew it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you brought up Flacco earlier, and the same thing was true. Flacco was not a great quarterback, but the timing and the circumstances made him the highest paid quarterback in NFL history at that moment.
All right, we're going to come back to this, because I want to get to some other stuff. Lamar Jackson said something really interesting yesterday that I want to share. Last season, Lamar Jackson really sort of burst onto the scene in the NFL, running the football extraordinarily effectively. This year, he has dramatically improved his passing game. Listen to why he says he's running less.
I hate running, only if I have to, but my job is to get the ball to the receivers, the tight ends, running backs. If I have to run, I'll do it, but I'd rather just sit back and pass it. I like throwing touchdowns instead of running them.
So he has thrown 7 touchdowns and for over 850 yards in 3 games this year. I will ask you, Lamar Jackson, is he going to change the way he plays, and should he change the way he plays?
I think in a perfect world, he would be able to develop into this pocket passer because maybe it prolongs his career. But let's not get confused. Lamar Jackson is not the prototypical dual threat quarterback that we think is always in a rush to run. If you watch his college film, he stayed in the pocket, went through his progressions. A lot of those big plays we remember from him in college were designed runs, and a lot of his big running plays in the NFL are designed runs. He is comfortable in the pocket, but I'm not sure he has the accuracy to become this type of pocket passer that he's saying that he kind of wants to be. And he's really good now in part because he always has the threat of running. If he gets to a point where he removes that threat, he's no longer Lamar Jackson.
The only thing I love here is it's like in basketball when you want to develop your offhand. If that's the case, Lamar, develop your offhand, develop your left hand, whatever the case may be. But you got it. He's so good, Greeny, because he can run as a linebacker, as a defender. I can't get as deep in my hook drop because I know if I get 15 yards away, I'm not tackling that man in the open field, period.
I mean, your defense, you can't even play man coverage. Like,
yes,
you cannot play man coverage.
You can't turn your back to
somebody
him.
like that.
But listen to me, and Schefter, you tell me if you agree with this thought or not. We live in a world right now where quarterbacks can make $30 million a year in their late 30s if they're still playing effectively. But guys who run a lot and take all those kinds of hits aren't going to play that long.
This was the conversation we had 5 years ago with Cam Newton. And look where Cam Newton is today.
Right, probably
He's banged up
Yep.
and not the same quarterback. And Cam Newton talked about how he wanted to become more of a thrower and less of a runner. And he never really changed his game all that much. He took more blows than he should have. Lamar Jackson right now, I think, is being forward-thinking. But the strength of his game still is the fact that he can beat you with his arm or his legs. And you can't take that away from him. He just has to be smart about the way he does it.
There are a lot of quarterbacks who can beat you with their arms and their legs. Aaron Rodgers can do that. Russell Wilson can do that. They don't call designed runs for those guys all the time. That's what
they're
Cam
not in the
Newton
same category, though.
I'm not saying they are, but what I'm saying is if you call designed runs for your quarterback as regularly as the Ravens are doing right now, that guy isn't going to be playing when he's 35 years old.
True. But what is your offense if you do not have those things in there? I think that it would be great to be this quarterback that everyone wants him, or that he may want to be, that can go deep into Tom Brady age, playing pocket passer. But I think at best, he's okay like that. Like this, he's great.
Elite. He's elite. And with this offensive system, he is elite right now. If he becomes a pocket passer, you got to change everything. And all 10 tight ends you have on your roster are now no.
You can't do it like that. You have to do it gradually over time.
Let's see if they do. In the meantime, his team is good, and they play Cleveland this Sunday, and the Ravens are ready. Listen to some of them talking about all the hype surrounding their opponents in Cleveland.
In the media, they're talking about OBJ and that tandem and Baker Mayfield, the next, savior. He had a hot start. And then to add on to that, Coach Harbs talked about it a couple of times in meetings, and so guys kind of got tired of it.
That's just what it is. It's hype. I mean, you can't really buy into it. You can't read it. I mean, you really don't know what a team is until you see them on Sunday. So, I mean, once somebody gets hit in the mouth, what's the plan then?
I remember the Titans talking like that before the first game of the season. I hear the Ravens talking like that. That bullseye that exists on the Browns, that's real, right? It's not just media stuff. It doesn't matter what I think or Rex Ryan thinks, but I think it does matter what the opponents think.
Man, it's real. And you have to remember just how some people love Baker Mayfield for his confidence. The opposing team hates that type of play. I mean, they want to smack you in the mouth. They want to take your will. And like Brandon Williams quoted, was Tyson. Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. I think that's the Ravens' plan. Go out there and see what Baker's about. See what OBJ about and everybody else.
That's what that division is. And I think there is no worse place to have this kind of prima donna type of hype before accomplishment franchise than in that division, because that division is always about hitting people in the mouth, frankly. And that Ravens organization, they won the division last year, and all of a sudden everyone's crowning this other team.
For no reason, mind you.
For very little reason, because Baker Mayfield showed a little glimpse of some greatness last season.
Remember, all offseason, everybody was like, oh, the Ravens are going to, the Browns are going to win.
Yeah.
The Browns are going to win. The Ravens are like, we got Super Bowls. The Steelers are like, we got Super Bowls, and y'all crowning the Browns? So I would be a little pissed off, too. I'm not going to lie.